Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me, OEM, with my man, the one and only Unc X. Brother, thank you for doing this with me.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you for reaching out. This is, we're both local guys. We came up, parallels. And
yeah, in basically the same neighborhood somehow.
Literally. And I think it was almost destined to be, some way, shape, or form.
I had a couple people reach out, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna make sure that if I do any of this weird shit, that I'm gonna come out here and do it with you first. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I wanted to do.
So we're here today because you have been inundated with comments and questions on so many different aspects of your life and the content that you put out. But I think one of the biggest things that people are on, and it's been all over social media on multiple different local pages, Unc X for mayor. For the people that want to know about, are you gonna run for mayor? What is your take? What do you have to tell the people? Let's set the record straight.
It's a dubious proposition at best, good sir. At this point, I find it hilarious because I've received at least a couple hundred comments suggesting that I throw hands with the political Incas of this evil empire. And I think that's just because I possess a certain level of independence that the average person doesn't get to experience. Right. And that's not coming from a place of hubris. I have a family legacy of rugged divergence, a very real history of, legal indiscretions and personal trauma, I guess is the best way to put it.
Right.
I hail from a God-fearing people, not a law-fearing people.
Okay.
I carry no reverence for like frivolous laws created to just feed some bean-counting budget officer somewhere. I spent the lion's share of my life sharpening my teeth under a pirate's flag, and it's taken me literally years to reconnoiter stronger dissidents. But alas, I feel that's what creates the connection that I have to these people. Yeah. It's why the words I say resonate with so many pissed off people with callous hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
What I'm saying, it's the flip side, right? You can't cheat code the linguistics in this talking to these people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They hear what I'm saying. They can hear the struggle in every line that I cook up against these idiots.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the unfortunate part is they're hearing something from me that they're not going to get from these Johnny sport coat wearing Wall Street wannabes.
Right.
The truth.
Right.
But sadly, that line of sight about me is going to draw a line in the sand for a lot of people, But just to circle back to, Unc X for mayor, I think I have to be as pragmatic with myself as I am with other people. And what I mean by that is I don't think anybody actually wants me to be mayor, right? I think the big takeaway here is people are just so desperate for something real, something tangible, for somebody that's not going to give them excuses, that's going to advocate for the majority.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to stand up for the people and not just some, niche demographic of people that are sitting somewhere that actually understand that their votes are going to matter. A lot of these people don't think any of their votes even matter anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're at a point right now where these people are sick of it. And it's like Admiral Yamamoto said, you have woken a sleeping giant. I think we have woken a sleeping giant. These people are sick of this shit.
Right.
And I'm just a messenger. And don't try to kill the messenger, because let me tell you something, better motherfuckers have tried. That's basically all I have to say about, that whole situation, that narrative that actually got spun. And then, I ran with it a little bit with creating that AI image.
Yeah.
And then Fall River Reporter really added to the lore by putting me.
Yeah.
How awful must it be for those guys that are on that list who have actually worked their entire life at chasing accolades and, degrees like fucking Pokemon cards.
Right.
And then they wake up one morning only to be on a lineup photo with me. Yeah. I'm sorry. Tough break, kid. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's basically the big takeaway here is I'm just trying to inspire other people to get up and say something, because it really does make a fucking difference.
Right.
I think Ivan Vanko said it best. If you can make a god bleed, people will cease to believe in him. So you see what I'm saying here? These people are not God. You know, I know that they have kicked the shit out of you and made you think that you can't do anything to make a change, but you can. Trust me when I tell you. Just get up, get online, and make a fucking... The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah.
Just get on there, and it's free. The internet's free.
Right.
You can come right on here and tell them all about themselves.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
I guess that's my overall mission statement for everybody out there. And I don't really think people want me as mayor. You know what I mean? I have one hell of a past
Right.
that a lot of people don't know about because I'm old. You know, a lot of these kids nowadays, you can Google
Said
them.
I'm old.
No, really.
Yeah.
You can Google these kids and all the shit they did comes up. I haven't done nothing in like 15 years, but let me tell you something. You do a little digging, you peel that onion back, and you're going to find a lot worse shit than what these kids are doing. So this is what I'm trying to say. I've lived this. I've experienced living in these twin cities half and half, brother.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
I lived 25 years in New Bedford and 25 years in Fall River.
Again, the same.
I have
Parallels.
never-
Same for me.
I have never experienced. I remember when first, you know, I didn't really know people from Fall River. I'm not going to, you know, get into how exactly I really started integrating into meeting people from Fall River. But when I did, I had heard tale of how, you know, there was like this conflict, this constant New Bedford Fall River rivalry,
This rivalry,
or
yeah.
drama, or
Always.
whatever the case may be. And maybe, you know, holding that through a sportsmanship type thing, whatever. But I've never experienced that. In my situation, when I met and came to be with a bunch of Fall River guys, they actually helped me out. And, you know, they did a lot of good shit for me.
Right.
I have nothing bad to say about Fall River guys. you
Well,
know.
I think Fall River has embraced you as its
And it always has.
spokesman for sure.
I have been very good friends with some crash out gentlemen that were of great loyalty and honor, but they were crash outs and drugs got the better of them. And once
Yeah.
that fucking poison sinks its teeth into you, I have been absolutely lucky. That's the only way I can put it, because I grew up in that dynamic when I was younger. I had family members that were drug dealers, big time. So I grew up around drugs constantly. It was all around me at all times, and I never, ever got into hardcore drugs.
Right.
I've never had any sort of real addiction whatsoever. And I think I attribute that to my wife attributes it to seeing it so much.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is seeing the fucking horrible outcome and what it actually does to people's lives. You know, I literally watched it corrode basically my entire family, even if they weren't doing it, just from selling it and being involved with that entire environment. It just pulled my entire family apart.
Right.
You know, so you know, I'm just saying, there's a lot of great people in Fall River, and I've never really experienced. I've only gotten love from people from Fall River, so
Right.
that's why, I mean, when I came here and I look around this place, I love this place. I post the videos all the time, and I'm like, I love Fall River. I'm not posting that to get fucking engagement. I'm posting that to get Fall River engagement.
Right.
Because I do love this place. Not every part of Fall River is a shithole, and even the ones that are a shithole aren't what people say they are, all right? I mean, if you want to be realistic here, and I know that this isn't going to take away the sting of the violence and the chaos of it, but realistically, most of the violence that takes place is happening with people that are also involved in violent and chaotic shit.
Right.
Not always. There has been some, that was that double homicide that happened there down, I think it was off McGowan Street, where the guy was just a
Oh, yeah.
drunk and,
Yeah.
and he killed that. That was terrible shit. Awful, awful shit. But, you know, genuinely, usually that sort of stuff is reserved for that particular environment.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
If you're walking around this city minding your business, you're just an average citizen, you're not going to get hung up usually in any bullshit. There's nobody running out of the shadows. I've been running around this city at all hours of the night, and nobody's jumping out of the shadows to fucking rob you.
Right.
You know, and honestly, grab your balls and just tell them to fucking kick rocks, because half of them are just strung out and are desperately jumping out. I mean, they're 90 pounds, wet and wearing fucking boots that they had to get from the fucking shelter. You know, don't worry about them. Just fucking, you know, turn your back to them and keep walking. They ain't gonna do shit.
Right.
But in any case, yeah, I love this city. I mean, I moved here, like I said, 25 years ago when I met my wife, who I love dearly, and she's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me, and she's from Fall River, and she is the epitome of a Fall River girl. She's a very professional person, but it doesn't take much when somebody's getting really disrespectful to turn her switch back to that
Yeah.
ratchet Fall River And it's not because she's a ratchet girl.
Right.
She's a very professional girl. She's, you know, going to school right now at UMass to be a lawyer.
Nice.
You know, so
That's cool.
she definitely has a great head on her shoulders. But I'll tell you what, that's just the dynamic when you come here. Is we've just, that's our posture, man. That's just our general posture. We've become so in love with our own trauma that we're ready to fight at any. We're gonna die on the side of Seven Hills, no matter what the case may be. Even if it isn't fighting with our hands, we're gonna fight you with our mouth. We're gonna fight you whatever weapons, whatever we need to weaponize, whatever's at our disposal. Whether it's communicating, whether it's gathering a bunch of people, or whatever the case may be, or sometimes it might be settling it with a good dust up.
Right.
Whatever's gotta happen's gotta happen. That's just Fall River. And I think that brings us right back to, you know, the shirts from Brawlers Inc. here.
I was
you know,
gonna say,
people,
that is what motivated you to come up with this design.
a lot of people
this
get
shirt.
the wrong idea.
Right.
And I think it's very important that we clear the air that this does not represent violence in any way. I know it shows a guy getting socked in the fucking snorkel, but I mean, it's just it's just a shirt. It's supposed to be funny. It's to represent our, you know, our undying spirit that we have here. You know, we'll happily fight.
We got to fight for what we got. The majority of people here have fought their whole life.
When I was a kid,
what they
I
can.
grew up in a very rugged biker environment, and there was a lot of dog fights. It was just kind of the commonplace back then.
Right.
And they have a name for a dog that would fight. It would fight no matter what. You could tear this dog's fucking shit apart, and it would still be fighting, wagging its tail. And they have a name for that, and it's called a dead game animal. And that's what we are in Fall River. We're all, unfortunately, from being fucking abused by shitty politicians and all sorts of other fucking scumbags. That's where we're at. We're fucking dead game animals. It's unfortunate, but we'll fight our tails wagging right to the bitter end. We'll just keep on going.
You post some amazing videos of throwing knives, balancing knives. You even have probably one of my favorite where you flip the knife and you land it in the sheath on your hip, which is for me, I'm just gonna say it's fucking impressive. You also have a knife design that has been in production. So that being said, lead us down the path.
Oh, you want to go way back. You want to hop on a train with Emmett Brown and Marty McFly and go that back in time?
If you want to go, we can go that far.
It started with my grandfather. My grandfather was in the Korean War from 1950 to 1953.
Okay.
He was actually only 17 years old over there. He was over there with the 16th Regiment. And he spent like the first 2 years, you know, pretty busy over there. And then like the last year he was over there, he pretty much was relaxing, just kind of getting drunk with his buddies over there. And he met a Filipino intelligence officer. We still have no idea why there was a Filipino intelligence officer in Korea. Nobody really knows why that is. But he met a Filipino intelligence officer over there that worked with them. And they would just basically get drunk and do different types of edged weapons, martial arts, you know, a lot of Kali, Balintawak harness, you know, shit like that. So I guess in the Filipino culture, knife throwing is very big, so they would do a lot of knife throwing. So that's basically where it started. He started and learned how to throw knives from that guy. He learned how to throw military half spin. When I was a kid, I would just go hang out in the shed with him, and he'd be, you know, fucking around with shit. And in between, he would literally take playing cards and throw the playing cards and try to stick them to the floor.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, just edged weapons in general was kind of just something that everybody really loved in my family. I mean, my grandfather had a huge, like most grandmothers have, like the curio chests, you know what I mean, with all the fucking dishes.
Crystal and the little
crystal and the dishes that nobody ever eats on or whatever. Well, in my house we had a giant chest, lit up chest like that, filled with bayonets and knives. You know what I mean? I used to sit there and just stare at it. You know what I mean? And if I was lucky, every so often he would take them out and show me. But in any case, you know, that's where it all started. Was basically there, and it just. I've been throwing knives my whole life.
Right.
Literally my whole life. I've had.
I mean, it shows.
Even as a kid, I had knife targets set up in my room. I lived in the attic upstairs. I would have targets on either end and just go back and forth. I would steal every family member's knives and just throw them until they broke and the handles fell, because they steak knives are not meant to throw, so I would try to tape the handles first, so that they would basically break to fucking shreds. They would shatter underneath. You know what I mean? But the tape would hold it together. I would finally have to take them apart, and it was just dust.
Go from steak knife to shank.
Just dust. There was nothing left of the fucking thing. So yeah, I would steal all my family members' knives and throw them. I mean, I don't know if you've ever thrown knives and you go to like these stupid fucking Chinese or military these Chinese souvenir shops or these military fucking stores where you buy these throwing knives. You know, you get these cheap ass Hibbon knives or whatever the hell you get. And
who hasn't been in
and 90% of
the
them
back of
I've
a black
owned.
belt magazine ordering.
Yeah, exactly.
All of
shit
that
like
shit,
that. Which, by the way, if you're going to do that, don't order for the aesthetic of it. Do not ever order knives that have holes in the handles because that just weakens the integrity of the handle altogether. When knives come into like the hilt like this, don't get those either. They're going to break immediately. You're throwing knives. You do understand. I feel like, what's that guy, Cobby Maine? Come on, bro. Like, you know what's going to happen here.
Right.
But yeah, that's why I created that. It took my time to really create that design because I basically took every knife design that I'd ever thrown, that I bought at all these little places over time, and I said, all right, well, what features did I really, what parts of this knife worked and what part didn't, and I took it, and that's how I came up with the design for the coffin nail.
Right. And
then about 2015, it was the actual initial launch of the original Preacher's coffin nail.
Okay.
And that did great. That did awesome. So that's how that came to be.
Nice. So it's really a family history.
Oh yeah, it's third generation.
That is.
My father wasn't as like crazy into it. My father was more of the outlaw, so to speak, and more worried about that kind of shit. But he had knives too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously. But yeah, it more the throwing, the knife throwing dynamic itself it kind of skipped a generation in a sense. My father lost interest in it.
Right.
My father had the attention span of a rattlesnake on PCP though. I mean, he literally could not focus on anything for more than. So that's what it was with him.
Wait, that was perfect. I have to segue with that into your monologues. They are quick-witted, slick, nasty, some people call frightening. Where does this come from?
Hell. No. In all seriousness. So, I'm old. I don't know why some people get that confused, but I'm very old, right? So, I grew up around a lot of old school bikers and, you know, just some really interesting people, let's just say. And, you know, I got into a lot of trouble as a young kid, and that kind of carried over into my 20s. And, you know, in hanging around with troublemakers in situations like that, you meet very interesting people and you pick up some very interesting things, let's just say that. I don't know how to explain it. It's a roadmap of where I came from.
Right.
You know, I was raised in bars listening to shitty jokes and drunks telling fucking stories, and you know, that went on to watching fucking Richard Pryor and George Carlin and Andrew Dice Clay. Those were a huge influence, apparently, in my life. That's essentially where it came from. I don't really know. I don't really know where the actual fire came from.
Right.
I see what you're trying to get at here, and.
Well, I think you answered it.
My father wasn't quite that bad. I mean, he was a bit of a sarcastic motherfucker too, you know what I mean, but not quite as bad as me. I think it really trickled down. My grandfather was pretty sarcastic too. So I'm like the final form of the Carlises that were fucked up, because after me they all became good kids. Right. You know what I mean? My son's in college. You know, my oldest son, he's a cook in a restaurant, and my youngest son, he's in college to be a lawyer, just like his mother. Nice. So, you know, I mean, that the buck stops here, so to speak. Like, you know what I mean? I have this saying that I say to both my kids, you know, is I am who I am, and I love that for me, but you guys got to be something totally different, and I love that for you. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
You know, I can't be something else. I'm a little long in the tooth to be like really switching up and changing who I am. It just doesn't work that way. I know there's several people that have always tried to be like, oh no, yes you can't. Nah, I have no interest in it. I'll just romanticize with my trauma here and just hang out with it.
No, no. There have been a few people, I believe you've referred to them as Connies, that they question your right to speak on the Portuguese community because, you know, you're not Portuguese.
I am not one bit Portuguese.
Right.
Not even a little bit. I'm mostly Italian, Lithuanian, and a little bit of English. I think I might be a little bit Irish. I've never done one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
The DNA test.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck enough.
Yeah.
I'm American. I'm mostly Italian, but most Italians' heads are gonna explode because I don't know shit about Italy and I've never been there. So.
Right.
I mean, I know like that much. So yeah, my wife actually coined the phrase Connie.
Right,
That's not
right.
me. I got that from her. She's like, she was laughing her
That's
ass off. She's
awesome.
like, I can't believe everybody's gonna be saying that now, because that video actually did a lot of engagement. But yeah, that came from her. That's what she calls every Portuguese woman on the road that can't fucking drive, or
Okay.
who is doing fucking, 10 miles below the speed limit everywhere.
Right.
You know, that's basically, and my wife is Portuguese. She's almost 100% Portuguese, so she definitely gets the G pass on.
Yeah.
So my wife is Portuguese. That's all I can say. And I've grown up literally, I don't know many other. I grew up mainly with Portuguese people.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood that I grew up in, people lose their mind on this one, dude. Portuguese. People get so mad when I say Portuguese.
That's almost as bad as the
I
N-word.
figured it out. It's not the people in Fall River. You guys are all cool. It's the fucking Portuguese in Swansea. They hate me for saying that. But I lived in the north end of New Bedford, right near Acubilliards, in this little subdivision of all Portuguese people except us. Literally, it was one Italian family in this Portuguese neighborhood. I said it in my other video. I literally had Rooster Di Barcelo's pictures, the table decor, napkin holders,
Right.
salt and pepper shakers,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. Why? Because all the Portuguese gave it to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they called it Portugueseville.
Right.
They called my neighborhood Portugueseville. The Portuguese people, your people, the ones you're yelling at me.
Yeah.
You're sitting here yelling at me for saying it.
So slow down, Connie.
Essentially what you're just saying is it's like the N-word for black people. It's okay for you to say it, but it's not okay for me to say it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not Portuguese. Well, guess what? I married into a blended Portuguese family. How about that shit? My wife is Portuguese, so I get to say whatever the fuck I want. And if you don't like it, I'm not going to finish that sentence, but there's only nothing but air and opportunity between us.
Use your imagination. We'll leave it at that.
You can come and talk to me about it. We can have a discussion like adults.
Right. Blow up his comment section on his videos.
I might make you cry, but it's okay. You'll forgive me later. Oh. This is what you wanted to dig into, bro.
I love it.
This is what you wanted. You wanted the truth.
This is what the people want. I'm just giving the people what they want.
Yeah, and this is what it blows my mind, and I have to ask people if they, if they've been taking some type of recreational drugs, because why would you? I can't be the mayor. I mean, if you want me to be, I'll go where God takes me.